Every single day, we trust so much of our lives to apps and websites, right? Our bank accounts, our private messages, you name it. But what's actually working behind the scenes to keep all that stuff secure? Well, today, we're going to look at how AI is stepping up to become this ultimate digital detective for the code that literally runs our world. Seriously, just stop and think about that. That banking app on your phone, the messages you send, even the games you play to unwind, all of it is built on millions, sometimes billions, of lines of code. So what's the actual line of defense standing between your data and a nasty hidden flaw?
To get to that answer, we kind of have to peek behind the curtain into this invisible world that makes our screens light up. And the big secret? It's all just code. And just like anything complex that humans build, it's never going to be perfect.
Yeah, these imperfections, these flaws, we call them bugs. And they aren't just little glitches that make an app crash. Sometimes they can be really serious vulnerabilities, basically an open door for trouble. And this isn't a rare thing. It's a universal challenge that affects every single piece of software we use.
Okay, so if we know for a fact that bugs are going to happen, how in the world have developers been finding them all this time? Well, for years they've relied on these automated tools. You could call them the original bug scanners. Let's dig into how the old way worked.
The core idea is called static analysis, and it's actually a pretty clever concept. You scan the code itself, the program's blueprint, for any potential problems before the software ever runs. You can think of it like a building inspector checking the architectural plans for weak spots before anyone starts pouring the concrete.
And what are these scanners actually hunting for? Well, you can basically think of them as a spell checker for code. They catch simple typos and formatting mistakes. That's a process called linting. They also flag code that's just way too complex or messy. And most importantly, they try to spot known patterns that have caused security problems in the past. Sounds good, right? Well, there's a catch.
And oh boy, is it a big one. This traditional method has this one huge flaw that gives developers a massive headache. It's what people in the field call the crying wolf problem.
This is where we get to the heart of the issue. It all comes down to something called false positives. You see, these traditional rule-based scanners, they don't understand context. All they do is see a pattern that looks like it could be a problem, and they sound the alarm. So what happens? They end up flagging perfectly good, safe code as being a huge threat, over and over and over again.
This analogy just hits the nail on the head. Imagine you're writing a report, and your spell checker keeps highlighting words that you know are spelled perfectly. You'd waste so much time checking things that aren't actually problems. And eventually, you'd probably just start ignoring its warnings, right? That is exactly the frustrating situation developers have been stuck in.
All right, so if the old way is just creating a ton of noise and making everyone's lives harder, what's the answer? Well, this is where AI strolls in and just completely changes the game. It's bringing a much, much smarter and more sophisticated way to find and fix these bugs.
So let's really break down the difference. The old scanners, they just match simple patterns based on rigid rules. But AI scanners, they are context-aware. They actually understand the purpose of the code and how it flows, almost like an expert human developer would. Because of that, they can spot these really deep, tricky flaws that the old systems would completely miss. And the result isn't a giant, scary list of potential issues. It's a short, smart list of real problems with precise, actionable fixes.
And this gets at the whole new strategy here. It's a shift toward what's called defensive analysis. The goal is to stop being reactive, to stop just fixing bugs after they cause a problem. Instead, you use AI to find and fix them before they can ever be exploited, making the software secure right from the very start.
Okay, but here's where it gets really, really cool. Automated remediation. This means the AI doesn't just say, hey, look, a problem, and then walk away. No. First, it spots a complex flaw the other tools would miss. Then, it truly understands the context of what that code is supposed to be doing. And then the final step? It provides the exact snippet of code needed to patch the bug. The AI becomes a collaborator, not just a critic.
So, that's a lot of cool tech talk, but what does it all actually mean for us? Why should we care that there's a smarter way to find bugs in our daily lives?
Well, it's actually pretty simple. It means that the digital tools we rely on every single day are becoming fundamentally safer and more reliable. This is a quiet revolution happening in the background, making our digital lives stronger and better protected against all those hidden threats.
And all of this leads to a pretty fascinating final thought. We've just watched AI graduate from simply finding problems to actively fixing them in the incredibly complex world of software. So it really makes you wonder, if it can tackle this today, what's the next great, big, complex challenge it's going to solve for us tomorrow?